له يا لا لا لا، يا 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 له يا لا لا لا.
وعليكم السلام.
Okay, one more time so we can hear everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alhamdulillah, see now I'm talking to very energetic, young, smart, beautiful people, you see. Well, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa afdalu salati wa tamu taslima ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Nabi al-Ummi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa azwajihi wa dhurriyatihi ajma'een. First of all, may Allah bless you subhanahu wa ta'ala for putting the effort to be here today, knowing that some of you has midterms, some of you has a lot of meetings, a lot of business opportunity going on campus here, parties, food, but you decided to make coming here is more important than any other event. Alhamdulillah. And as you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about the special virtue of the 10th al-Hijjah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose to have certain times, certain location to give more blessing to his ibad, to his servant, than the rest of the year. And one of those, you know, for example, on weekly basis, on daily basis, what's the best times of the day? Or the night, you can say. The time before Fajr, the Thuluth al-Akhir, the last third part of the night. You can say 1 hour before Fajr time, usually that's the best time to make dua, to pray tahajjud, to ask for supplication, for forgiveness, rahmah, and tawfiq, success in this life and the life after. Because in reality, that was the most difficult time for a person to wake up. And if a person willing to put the effort to wake up at this times, take the pleasure of sleeping, the pleasure of family, the pleasure of resting and relaxing, and to make the pleasure of being with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in prayers, in dua, in supplication, that more superior to the pleasure of dunya, that why the most benefit and reward will be for the individual. And we know the hadith that the angel will be descended at these times, so the blessing, inshallah, will be answered much quicker. And this is not the subject today, but just to know that. And the hadith confirms that. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a hadith say that, "Inna lillahi fi ayyam ad-dahr nafahat, fata'arradu laha, فلعل أحدكم أن تصيبه نفحة فلا يشقى بعدها أبدا." Surely for Allah during the course of history, the course of times, and that for the individuals and for the ummah in general, nafahat, waves of blessing, فَتَعَرَّضُوا لَهَا, so you expose yourself to that waves of blessing. فَلَعَلَّ أَحَدَكُمْ, hopefully that one of you would never receive any difficulties or shaqa and happiness, literal meaning, or in Islamic term, shaqa could be, Allah forbid, a person going to hellfire. So we need to take advantage of the opportunities. As much as you do in dunya, for your school, for your business, for any opportunities, might increase your knowledge, your education, your career, your wealth, your salary. Similarly, we have to do that for our deen. If you're not aware of those opportunities, you are kind of heedless. If you don't take advantage of those opportunities, again, it's really, you don't know your priority on life. And during the week, we have Friday times. During the year, we have the month of Ramadan, Laylatul Qadr, the best night, and so on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to us about those special 10 days. We're almost the beginning of the last month of the year. In a way that to encourage yourself, if you're not in a Hajj seasons, at least if you're in your localities, you put the extra effort to share the joy and the happiness and the extra effort the Hujjah, the pilgrimage, put to go to Hajj. So that's why the importance of those 10 days. One of the benefits of those days, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the oath. When He says subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran, وَالْفَجْرِ وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ. Allah gave the oath by Fajr. As you mentioned, Sister Amina, the important time of Fajr, and after that for every night. Al-Fajr. Needless to say, if you don't wake up to make Fajr on time to begin with, simply I don't want to say to you, not to scare you of punishment, but to scare you of how much blessing you are losing every day of your life when you miss Fajr prayers. How much success, how much rizq, sustenance, how much peace of mind, peacefulness, how much being in good mood. You are losing all of that. If one day you wake up in the morning, find yourself in bad mood, find yourself overwhelmed by worries, anxieties, the stress of exam, the stress of life, the stress of family, before you ask yourself and jump to have a cup of coffee or think the internet going to help you or some music going to relax you, ask yourself, did you wake up on Fajr and pray that particular morning and make dua before and after that? This is my first advice for everybody who come telling me their life is very stressful, they're overwhelmed with difficulties, they have family problems, they have school problems, business problem, with neighborhood, all of that. The first one should come, did you wake up on Fajr in that particular days? And sincerely pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah give you success. Allah will ease that day for you. Allah gave the oath. As we know, Allah can give an oath subhanahu wa ta'ala with His creation. وَالضُّحَى وَالْفَجْرِ وَالشَّمْسِ وَاللَّيْلِ. But we cannot give an oath except by using Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala names, Allah or Allah attributes. You say Wallahi, War-Rahmani, and so on. Or Warabbil Kaaba, for example, the Lord of the Kaaba. Otherwise, we're not supposed, we cannot give an oath by the creation whatsoever. That is prohibited for us. Because an oath in Arabic language in Islam, to show the importance, to show the magnification of what you're giving the oath with. So Allah gives us the oath to let us know about the important or what's al-muqsam bihi, what giving oath with. In that case, wal-fajr and walayalin. And the waw in Arabic here mean grammatically harf jar, mean preposition, put the noun next to it in the case of genitive case, but also mean an oath, mean uqsimu, I give the oath. Wal-fajri walayalin ashar. And the 10 nights, and the scholars of Tafsir mentioned that refer to the 10 nights and the 10 days of Ashur. The Ashur, the 10th Ashur means 10th of the al-Hijjah, the month of the al-Hijjah, which called the al-Hijjah because the Hajj season comes in that month. And as you know, while speaking right now, the Hujjaj already are in the process of doing their Hajj. And we have to share that. And one of the fitna now come among the Ummah in the West. People always say, oh, we're not part of the Hajj season. We look at our own local calendars and we make our Eid based on our local time. Even Hajj could be over in the Hajj location with Mecca. And that really part of separating the Ummah. That part really not feeling in touch spiritually, emotionally in the Hajj times with the Hajj people. Allah makes the special thing subhanahu wa ta'ala special for us. So if you're not part of Hajj, getting the blessing when you are over there, at least you can do some good deed for yourself while you are in your localities. By, shall we mention a list of that? So that's why it's very important to celebrate the season of Hajj with our brother and sister, family member, parents, uncles, and colleagues, friends, neighbor we know, they want to perform Hajj. And while they are in the month of Arafat, we fast that particular day. When they are celebrating the Hajj over there, we celebrate the Eid there to show the whole Ummah is one unit, is one body. Not to isolate ourselves claiming that we didn't see the moon or we saw the moon. The moon is not the goal of Hajj. The moon, not the goal for Ramadan and for Eid. I mean, moon sighting is a tool that Allah giving us, so all of us, we can enjoy the i'tisam, as the Quran say, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Hold tight, unite yourself with the robe of Allah, جَمِيعًا, all of you. Whether you live in Mecca or you live outside Mecca, whether you are in the east or on the west, well, Allah says جَمِيعًا, and that khitab, that advocacy for all Muslims, regardless of your locations, regardless of your own time. وَاعْتَصِمُوا, this obligation on us. We separate ourselves, we isolate ourselves based on our personal desire and greed for dunya or leadership or fame or wealth or being afraid of losing some personal benefit. So we make all that isolation and separation. But in reality, our obligation to have what? I'tisam means to be all of us together, inshaAllah. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. And needless to say, when you are united together, mean you're not separated. But the Quran gives the emphasis of that. To make you understand that, not only you have to be together in celebration, in our case we talk about, but also do not make tafarruq. Do not separate it yourself. Do not isolate yourself. Do not have fragmentations. So inshallah, I hope we take this message to every local imam, to every local masjid, to every family, to make sure that to have unity where we have the beginning of Hajj and Ramadan together is very important. Knowing that both fiqh opinion are valid, whether you want to take the local moon sighting or the global one. But the majority of the scholars, according to the school of Imam Abu Hanifa radiallahu anhu, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad, they consider that global moon sighting, it's what's preferred and that the decision. Only Imam Shafi radiallahu anhu, he said, local moon sighting what has to be considered, knowing that in the old day, it was very difficult or impossible to convey the message of moon sighting if you live, let's say, in China. How go to convey the message to other country, knowing the only thing you can do maybe like horseback riding. But nowadays, alhamdulillah, with communication through the internet, through phones, through TV, through satellite, it's not that difficult to convey the message instantly. So inshallah, let's think of that aspect and put our effort together. Because we're living right now in a situation where the ummah is being divided because of political divisions. But let at least be united in our effort, in our heart, in our deen when it comes to ibadah. The other benefits or specialty of it, or the 10 of al-Hijjah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the command to have plenty of tasbih. Tasbih, when you say subhanallah, and the word means you are exalting, giving the exaltation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your mind, in your aqidah, your belief, in your actions, that Allah above imperfection and shortcoming, Allah above the creation attributes, direction, sight, body, and all of that aspect. Those are part of the creation attribute. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. Nothing look like him whatsoever. Or another interpretation, nothing look like his likeness whatsoever. It depends what you consider the kaf to be here. Yet at the same time, not and, yet May Allah not look like him whatsoever. At the same time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Sami' and Basir, all hearing, all seeing. But if you say and hear, it will be wrong translation. Allah telling us, nothing look like him whatsoever. At the same time, he's Sami' and he is what? Basir. So that is, we need to understand that aspect of this ayah. So that tasbih mean Allah above all of that. Takbir, to say Allahu Akbar, and the special takbirat of Eid, part of that. Allahu Akbar literally mean Allah is bigger, Allah is greater, Allah is above. Meaning from everything, mean over everything. Allah is bigger, whether in your imagination, whether what you think of, whether what other people claim, Allah is always bigger, greater, more exalted than all of that. What tahmeed, when you say Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah for the fact that you are a believer. Imagine you are not a believer. What kind of lifestyle you going to have? Imagine you have a sound mind. Imagine you are incapable of understanding. Imagine a lot of things. So you have to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I always say, unfortunately, our brother and sister, they think Eid celebration, instead of being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah gives us the ability to do the ibadah, whether it was Hajj, or to make tasbih, tahleel, fasting, Quran recitation, to give sadaqah. To be thankful that Allah kept you alive to enjoy the Eid time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala return your family member who wants to Hajj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the ability. So Hajj means have to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not a time of sinful action or sinful behavior. As some people think celebration is supposed in Islam to be like that. By doing dance party, by doing the musical blast, where the whole building will complain about that. Even the door will be shaking, the window will be shaking. They think that's fun. How about your eardrums? I just met a person yesterday. He told me he used to listen to music when he was younger, and now he's suffering from eardrum problem. He cannot even hear. He lost his hearing. And not Muslim. And he told me he feels sorry for those people who think fun is to blast the music very loud, and that for them they want the whole neighborhood to know about it, or everybody in the street when they're driving car. To me, that's foolishness of a young person who wants to get the attention. Look at me, I can put loud music. I can afford to buy that speaker. I can do that, I can do that. And at the end, who cares? Who cares? Show us your intelligence. Show us your knowledge. Show us your manners, your behavior. Show us what can you do for humanity. Show us how many diseases you can cure. Show us how many inventions you can do to make pain and suffering for the ummah exist. Show us how much you can do to get rid of poverty, to make more peace in the world. What invention you can do to make life easier. That's what you have to be proud of. Not look at me, I can do so and so. So that's why, unfortunately, the Eid celebration is supposed to be celebration of obedience, celebration of being good deed, celebration of acting your life as to be humans. And as we know always, that Allah honor us to be. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We have to act and behave as honored creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not savage animals who live in the jungles. We're not so and so. The celebration is manifestation of that belief in Islam. And also, from the specialty of those 10 days is Yawm al-Tarwiyah, the al-Hijjah. And also, the biggest reward of those 10 days is Yawm Arafah, as we know. The day when the Hajj called the mountain of Arafah. And in that day, subhanallah, it's a lot of things we can do about that. But just to make it short, that the Siyam of day of Arafah, fasting the day of Arafah. And now, according to our calendar, just to make sure, when will be the day of Arafah for us here? Anybody knows? Saturday. Why Saturday? Not Sunday, or Monday, or Tuesday, or next week? Some people are not aware of that. I'm serious. I talk to some people, they're not aware when the Arafah going to be. They're even aware the Hajj is going to start. Someone told me it will be next week. I mean, 10 days after the Hajj is over, they think the Eid will be there. I'm talking about some college students who might do A+ on their calculation or their calculus or accounting or American history or geography or politics, but they doesn't even know when the Eid will be, when the al-Hijjah will be. You ask them what today date in the Hijri calendar, they have no idea. Anybody knows what today in the Hijri calendar? For example, if you don't think about it, mean you're not aware of it. Because if you know Saturday going to be Arafah, you're going to go backward, you see. The 8th or the 7th? Well, when the Arafah will be in the calendar? What day will be the day of Arafah? The 9th or the 10th? The 9th. So it's got to be Saturday. So I mean 2 days from now. Okay? So today is the 7th. That's very important, honestly. When Muslims used to keep their calendar alive in their mind, they're in advancements. So we have today for day of Arafah. Make sure you fast in that day. Really, make sure you recite a lot of Quran. Make sure you make tawbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that forgive you sinful action. Allah enlighten your heart with knowledge, sound knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will unite the ummah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you a better person in your own family. If you are a son or a daughter, if you are a husband or wife, if you are a father or a mother, if you are grandparents, if you are an employer or employee, really all of that really are very important to make a dua for that. Before you make dua that Allah give you beautiful clothes or nice car or nice house or nice shoes or nice all of that dunya material, ask Allah for something way more superior, something more important in this particular night, particular day. So alhamdulillah, and you know that the hadith in Sahih Muslim and Tirmidhi radiallahu anhuma say, صوم يوم عرفة يكفر سنتين. The fasting of day of Arafah will forgive the sin. I'm going to explain that for the 2 years. One previously, the previous year, and the coming one. Now, when you hear out of a hadith about sin forgiveness because of an act of prayer or siyam or sadaqah, we need to clarify here something very important. Otherwise, will be deceptions. Otherwise, will be fatal mistake for a Muslim to think, I can do everything's haram, and when I fast day of Arafah, Allah is going to forgive my sinful action for 1 year before, 1 year after. Is that correct? Of course not correct. Otherwise, if that's the case, religion will be used and abused for a person to justify their haram action, haram attitude, whatever that haram act. After that, we think just asking for forgiveness or fasting 1 day will be forgiving. No, that's not the case. If you know that sin in Islam has 4 divisions. First of all, there's something called Haqqullah wa Haqqul Ibad. The right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the right of the creation. You have to be aware of that. So what does that mean? If a person did something against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that called sin against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the sin was against the creation, that sin against the creation. Is that clear? And the other part, there's something called minor sin, sagha'ir, and major sin, kaba'ir. Now we have 4 categories. A sin could be minor or major, or could be another category against Allah or against the creation. So when the hadith, when the ayat say Allah forgives sinful action, we need to be aware what that means in detail. First of all, if sinful action against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for that person did something not to cause any harm or damage to other people. Maybe he did not really pray on times, for example. Maybe delay paying his zakah, not out of denial of zakah or salah, but let's say out of laziness. Person wants to pray, but he was a little bit lazy. This will be called what? Sin against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, if it's minor sin, Allah will forgive that when he does the act of fasting or worship, ibadah. But major sinful action like what? Usually mentioned in the Quran or a hadith strictly. Like the biggest sin and major sin against Allah and humanity is what? Shirk. So such a sinful action will not be forgiven merely by fasting. Person has to make tawbah. So major sinful action, person has to make repentance first of all. And repentance means, of course, start by recognizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the creator, as our Lord. After that, person has to feel what? Quitting what he's doing or she's doing from sinful actions. That's very important. Third condition is what? Has to be, a person has to have a promise will not do the act anymore in the future. Also has to be coming with the feeling of remorse and guilt. Positive guilt, not negative guilt. I mean, not negative guilt that make you feel depressed or feeling in a state of despair from life and hope. No. Sometimes feeling and knowing that it's something wrong and commit yourself to be a better person should be motivational for you to do something good. Like when you fail an exam, Allah forbid, or you do bad grades, you can take that as encouragement to reflect on your lifestyle. I've been neglecting my study, I didn't do my homework, I was watching too much TV, I was doing too much social life. In that process, I neglect to study. Now I get the bad grade. So that should be encouragement for you to review your lifestyle and be encouraged with your commitment. You come to study harder, inshallah. So sinful action, same thing. When you make tawbah, you have to be remorse about that, not to be depressed, not to be losing hope in life, rather to say to yourself, how could I do that? Allah bless me with youth, Allah bless me with time, Allah bless me with intelligence and wealth and ability to be a student in a college, family provide for me, or maybe I have student aid or grants or tuition, all of that. How come I'm not taking advantage for the benefit of myself, my life, my family? So that part of tawbah, feeling remorse, and has to be done before you die, before the sun rise from the west at the end of one of the signs of the end of life. All of that, if the sin are committed against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when the sin are committed against other people, a person has another condition to fulfill, which is compensate the wrong he or she did for other people. For example, if a person stole money from somebody, he might make fast all day of Arafah, he might fast all Ramadan, he might do Hajj every year, pray Salah 5 times a day, make tahajjud all night. Unless he returns the stolen money to the other person, his sin cannot be forgiven. Is that clear? So the person has haram incomes. The person think, oh, I can open, for example, a store, so and so, and it's okay. He can sell beers and cigarette and an ethical magazine and stuff, blah, 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 blah. One day I'll make tawbah. I go to Hajj, I make tawbah, start fresh. No. You have to return every penny you earn from haram to the source. You have to ask forgiveness of every person. You sold him something wrong, let's say a cigarette. He smoked a cigarette and he hurt himself. He harmed his youth. He harmed other people. So it's very serious. It's very serious to ask people for compensation. It's very serious when a sinful action is done to fix all that problem. Like when you have a mirror and you break it or you scratch it, no matter how much you clean it and you make it, that sign on the damaged mirror will remain. You cannot fix it anymore. So that is much easier not to be involved in a sinful action than to do the sinful action and ask for forgiveness. Even you ask for forgiveness and other people forgive you, Allah will forgive you when you sincere about tawbah. But how about the damage the sinful action caused in your life? Let's say a person was smoking for 10 years, 20 years. He makes tawbah. But how about the damage of smoking that caused in the person's body? Anybody heard the newest report about smoking? Smoking has more than how many poison chemical you put in your body when you smoke? Anybody has an idea? You can study health reports, not to do with religion, just only mere health fact. Study shows that when a person smokes, he's injecting into his body more than 4,000 harmful chemicals. I didn't make it up. I was shocked when I heard that number. When a person smokes, putting in his body more than 4,000 chemical, bad chemical, that affecting your body in negative way, in different seriousness of harm. So even you make tawbah after that, how are you going to deal with all? And study also shows that if a person quits smoking, his body needs at least 1 year to start to cleanse itself from some of those chemicals. So it's a serious matter, and that for the body, sinful action like that. So when the hadith say, Allah forgives sinful action for 1 year or 2 years between a Friday after Salah, that refers to minor sinful action committed against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Knowing that major sinful action needs own tawbah. They need their own repentance by name. We have to be aware of that. And on top of that, the sinful action against other people or humanity means you hurt an animals. You cut a tree branch for no reason. You are passing by a nice flower. You snap it, you smell it and throw it away. What is that? Let this flower praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let other people enjoy the look and smell of flower. Why have to snap it? Why have to throw dirt on the, for example, on the grass? And so a lot of things we do about life, we're not aware it could be sinful action. Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, when he was marching with his army, he was aware not to step on an ant. This is mentioned in the Quran. قالت نملة. A Namla said, enter your home. So Sulaiman will not crush you with his army and we're not aware of that. See how intelligent this ant when he said this phrase. While وهم لا يشعرون, and in the state of not being aware of that. No, they cannot. Shu'ur means to have feeling, to sense something. She mentioned that because she knows that little creature that Allah's justice and Prophet of Allah like Sulaiman will act with justice. He will not even step on an ant intentionally. If that happen, will be with that intention. So I'm saying that so when we fast the day of Arafah and we do dhikr and ibadah, we celebrate Eid, honestly we have to be aware of cleansing ourselves from sinful action as soon as possible. Otherwise, we'll be like somebody who wants to drink fresh water, but the cup he's using or she's using is what? Dirty or contaminated or has on it germs and bacteria or fungus. No matter how pure the water you're going to drink, unless the cup itself is clean and pure. And same thing our body, spiritual life. If you want the blessing of the deen, the blessing of fasting, the blessing of ibadah, the blessing of your own life, you have to make sure that the blessing comes to be in a pure container, which is your body, which is your soul, your intellect, purity of your faith, your aqidah. You don't have any association, shirk in any form whatsoever. You're not exaltation in your life to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many Muslims we know that they put in their life more importance to their job, to their leaders, to their wealth, to their family, sometimes to their car, to their shoes, to their clothes, to their gadgets, computer. Some people I know they care more about their computer or cameras or iPad or iPhone or tablets, really more than they care about their religion. They care about their Facebook more than they care about how their face comes to be in the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. Wujuhun, faces, really. This mentioned in the Quran. Yawma idhin musfira. Because that's the end of life will be. Your face. Now you worry about your Facebook. Worry about your face. How it's going to look day of judgment. The Quran says, some faces, wujuhun, will be what? Musfira. Very shiny, very bright, very radiant. Why? ضاحكة. Instead of smiling and rejoicing and happiness. Mustabshira. Why? Because the good news came to them. Well, their final destination will be what? Paradise. وجوه يومئذ مسفرة ضاحكة مستبشرة. On the other hand, ووجوه يومئذ عليها غبرة. And the other has what? غبرة means dust. Dust. ترهقها قطرة. On top of that, they are dirt and they are feel of guilt and embarrassment and ashamedness. So really, ask yourself every time you go to your Facebook, how your face going to be the day of judgment. And doesn't mean dark or doesn't mean black or white. They will always mistranslate the Quran by black and white. Doesn't mean that. Because in Arabic, aswad doesn't mean black. Aswad means dark. So a person could have very light complexion, but the face is very dark from evil act or behavior or mentality. And it shows on the face. A person could have very dark complexion, but the face will be very shining and radiant and bright because of good action and good mentality and good behavior. So not a matter of black or white, it's a matter of brightness and darkness, matter of zalam and nur. So we have to be aware of that. So inshallah we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among really those. So before day of Arafah and the importance of it, really think of tawbah, think of forgiveness, think of rahmah, think of your relations with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That will be the first aspect. Yes, I need drink. And the other one, which is very important, is the Eid itself. Eid unfortunately become a cultural event. Eid become a celebration that become commercialized and empty from any goodness or spiritualities. The idea of Eid in Islam is to celebrate the blessing Allah has given you to do an act of ibadah before the Eid. That's why Eid comes after the month of Ramadan. When you put the effort to fast the whole month of Ramadan, Allah can you the reward and the blessing. That's why Eid called in Islam Yawmul Jaiza, the day of receiving the reward. Jaiza is the trophy you win when you pass a competition or something. Jaiza, the reward. The end will be in the street of Eid, giving congratulations to the believer by giving them the reward, the trophy of that day of doing the act of ibadah before the day of Eid. So you have to be aware of that. But when we make Eid a celebration of, instead of asking Allah for rahmah, for forgiveness, instead of reflecting on those really needy and poor in societies, that's why you find in Eid al-Fitr, to share that happiness, what do? You give zakat al-Fitr. To be thankful to Allah. If Allah gives you the blessings, the ability to have the food for the day of your Eid. Why don't remember another person who doesn't have that ability? That's why fasting, you do that for yourself for the month of Ramadan, but unless you become conscious and aware of other people, and you take some of your expenses and you give fitrah, zakat al-fitr, on every person you support in your family. Even if you're expecting a baby, you need to give fitrah on that. So if you support in your family 10 people in the day of Eid, you need to feed another 10 people in society who cannot afford to do that. To let you know, the meaning of Eid is not only to dress up nicely and walk like a peacock, you see, you think nobody has better dress than you, or nobody has more expensive clothes than you. Look at my clothes, I get that from so-and-so designer, and you get your clothes from so-and-so. I'm not going to say any name here, you know, to put ourselves in trouble by making advertisement or condemning other stores, really. But people do that, really. Eid becomes the focus of clothing, rather than, as the Quran says, وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى خَيْرٌ. The garment of righteousness is the best garment you put on yourself. And this mentioned after Hajj. So Eid, unless really has that meaning of reflection on other people. So in Ramadan, we finish Ramadan, we start our Eid by what? Giving zakat al-fitr. That's why zakat al-fitr is due what time? Before sunrise. So you start as early. You start your day by having the joy and happiness of what? You help another needy in community. Same thing in Eid al-Adha. You start day after Eid by what? By sacrificing a lamb, if you can afford that. And what do you do with the lamb? You give 1/3 for your family. Actually, before you do that, you're supposed to give 1/3 of it to the needy. And by doing that, honestly, be thoughtful, be considerate, and be a person of dignity. I mean by that, don't take the best part of the meat to your family and give the poor guy the head and the legs and the intestine of the lamb. Some people do that. What is that? Like you take the meat and you give the poor person the leftover stuff you want to throw away, or you don't want to put difficulty to cook it or prepare it. You give it and you think you're doing sadaqah. No, that's not right. Because in Islam, the Quran says, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You will not reach the level of righteousness unless you spend from what you love the most. If you love that nice piece of meat to yourself, that one is supposed to give to the needy person. To show really you're doing the act of sadaqah, not getting rid of something you don't need, or getting rid of something you don't eat. So it's different. Even giving the sadaqah could be an act of goodness or an act of what? Like not really sincere act. How we know that? The Quran gave us a standard that don't give any sadaqah of something you don't accept yourself. I mean, if somebody going to give you that thing yourself, you have an old shoes, maybe you get it from high school, now you're still attached to that shoes, but you want to keep it, but you have no room in your closet. You bought just another 10 pair of shoes because they are on sale. So you want to take that old one and give it to somebody. Or simply you can buy a brand new one when you buy something to yourself and give the brand new one to be sadaqah for the needy person. What difference in feeling do you have? By giving something, instead of throw it away in the garbage, you give it to the poor person. Make him feel bad, you give them the leftover of what you have, and also what goodness in that act of sadaqah. So sadaqah has to be from what you love the most. That's what the Quran says. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ. You will not reach the level of righteousness of your act حتى until تنفقوا, you spend مما from whatever تحبون, you love. So if you want to give the meat as a qurbani for al-Hijjah, to make the poor person, to make an orphan, to make a widower or a widow person, or to make a person whose parents are got lost in explosion in one of the Muslim country because two crazy Muslims fighting each other over stupid stuff. Really? So consider that. Consider that. So keep the best of the qurbani to those needy people. The best third of it. And the other third, you keep it for your family. You keep it to your friend, your neighbor, your friend. And you keep the last third to yourself. I'm saying that Eid is supposed to be a day of sharing, a day of considering other people, a day that you share the blessing with other people. We lost all of that. We do that as a show off. My qurbani, I went and I picked up the biggest ram available. You should see at the horn, you see. You should see at the head. Who cares, you see? The more sadaqah you do should be quiet. The more quiet about your sadaqah means the more sincere. The more you show it off, the more you brag about it, the more you put it in your Facebook and your Twitter and your account and send pictures on the email for everybody. At the lamb you sacrifice, at here and there, all of that you lose the reward because you're going the act of showing off. And that's called riyah. Riyah, showing off. You like people to be seen. The act of sadaqah, that's what we know. The famous hadith about 7 people who are going to be in the shadow of Allah, the throne of Allah, the day of judgment. What the last one was? Anybody remember? Yes, sister.
It's the person whose right hand gives what the left hand doesn't.
May Allah bless you, you see? A person himself doesn't know what he spent on sadaqah. His right hand doesn't know, the left hand doesn't know what the left hand gives. May not even use the counting. Oh, 5 cents, 10 cents, 15 cents, you see. $1 or 18 cents, you see. Not even really that. That what mean? Means just you grab and you give without even looking or counting. And that for the person himself, imagine we expose ourselves all over the internet, all over the masjid, all over the community. I did so and so. All of that taking the blessing and the reward of what? Sincerity. Sayyidah Aisha anha, she used to put perfume on the sadaqah before she gave. Because she said that the sadaqah will fall in the hand of Allah before the hand of the poor person. Really, so she used to put perfume on the sadaqah she was to give. See how conscious she was in her thought, in her mind. Beautify the sadaqah to the best level possible. To put perfume on it even. Knowing that, of course metaphorically, Allah doesn't extend his hand to get the sadaqah, means the acceptance of the sadaqah, so it should be in the most beautiful way. That's what sadaqah is supposed to be. So when you do qurbani, this part of Eid, to reflect, to share on those who are less fortunate in society. And that's the meaning of Eid. And that's why Islam make fitra before sunrise, Islam make udhiyah before sunrise, before you celebrate your Eid. And after that, really we have to be aware, honestly, of something more scary when we see now our community do. It's Eid become a season of what? Business. Eid become Muslim communities, they put the prices up during the Eid season. They do that. And that's haram act. You're taking advantage, especially in society when a father has maybe 5, 6 children, winter time is coming, school season at the same time. So instead of having mercy in your heart, when you are a merchant, you have enough for your family, instead of making it easier on your community to celebrate the Eid. Let the children celebrate Eid, we put the prices up by 50%, sometimes by 100%. To make it difficult on a father who has to feed 6, 7 children, sometimes a mother and his mother and his parents, to do that on Eid. For what? So a merchant or a businessman can go home and make the best feast on Eid for his family and his friend. another showing off. Where you get all this money? Oh, from selling all merchandise to the community by pricing up the high very high, because I know it's the Eid season. They're going to buy no matter what. They're going to buy that sweet or that clothes or that stuff. So Eid, unfortunately, in our life, lost its own rahmah. Really, it's become a Eid of business, commercialized event, and showing off event. On top of that, what we do, we make a lot of sinful action day of Eid. Instead of ending our year, ending a season of rahmah and blessing and ibadah and forgiveness, to visit your family member. If you haven't spoke to somebody for a while because they think they upset you by something, or you did something wrong to other people, Eid is a time to reach out to people, ask for forgiveness, extend your visitation to them, really ask them to forgive you. And especially if you are the one who are younger, especially if you are the one, let's say, who did something wrong, it's more noble from you to initiate the good deed, to show respect for your brother and sister, also to show respect if they are, let's say, older than you, or let's say they are in a position like higher than your position. You're a student, they are a teacher. You are the son, they are the father or the uncle or the grandfather. You are in that situation. So really that shows nobleness of Eid. What's the benefit of Eid? You dress up nicely, you eat the sweet, you visit your family member as a showing off occasion, but your heart still has something against your brother. You didn't talk to him for 2 years or 3 years or 10 years sometimes. I know people like that. I know some family members did not talk to each other, brother and sister and sibling, for 20 years. Why? Because how could he say that to me? How should he do that to me? You see? She went to my kitchen, opened the fridge without my permission. Really? But I hear stuff sometimes, I laugh from my heart about the level of silliness. Some of our people who might have degree from college, they might think they're intellectual, they might think they are whatever they are, but in reality, their life is full of silliness, empty stuff. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a hadith hate that. The hadith say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the 3 things Allah hates, kathrat al-su'al. To ask questions non-stop, like about silly, unimportant stuff. Like the issue of the cow in the Quran. What color, what size, where we can find it, where, what. All the act was slaughter a cow and that's it. But it comes with a lot of why? To show, somebody want to show they are smart, they're intelligent, by argumentation. All of that showing off. So kathrat al-su'al. If the question not useful to you, in your religion and your dunya in a good way, don't even bother to ask. Sometimes you meet people, where are you from, brother? Are you married? Are you single? Where do you work? How much money do you make? What car do you drive? Where do you live? Do you own a house? Do you live in an apartment? Really? It's happened to me all the time. I go to Muslim brother to make, like, just to buy something from them, like a gallon of milk or some banana, and in end up you have to answer all this question to a person. Really? Why? Really? All of that is really a sign of really like a lot of things we do not proper, not right, not even like business professionals. Usually I never go back to those people no matter what. I want to be integrated by all these people. One question because none of questions because simply I need to get something for $5 or $10. They do that. So kathrat al-su'al, not Islamic behavior or character or manners at all. Other way to be nosy. Okay. Don't be nosy person. The hadith say is from the beautiful aspect of your religion. من حسن إسلام المرء تركه ما لا يعنيه. From the beautiful understanding of your deen, to show the beauty of your deen, leave out what doesn't concern you. The scholars say, if an issue doesn't affect your deen, your religion, don't bother to worry about that. Nowadays, like all this news and media news on TV, they know about every person with celebrity, I don't know what that means, everything about them. At the same time, we have no idea now, if I ask some of the students, can you name for me, really I'm serious, let's not take the challenge here. See, all of us collectively, maybe we can name like 10 scholars of Islam who changed the course of history. Do you have any name? Really? 10 names. 10 faqih. Let's start with faqih, jurisprudence. Anybody has some names? All of us now here. What? Imam what?
Abu Hanifa.
Abu Hanifa radiallahu anhu. Okay, that's the first name. Any other name?
Malik.
Imam Malik, second name. Okay.
Ibn Sina.
Imam what?
Ibn Sina.
Ibn Sina wasn't faqih.
Silence.
Imam Ahmad, the third name. Imam Shafi'i, those are the most, at least you should know that, because they are the most famous fuqaha in our history, you see. You know them in order at least. Anyway, don't worry about that. Okay? But other 6 names, can you mention? Just faqih. Not like about mufassir, not about muhaddis, not like about historian, not like about scientists in medicine and astronomy and chemistry, not talking about other achievement, invention, not talking about linguistic scholar, Quran scholar. Just see, really see how far we are. But if I ask you now about certain name, sport figure or an actor person or an actor, you see, I'm sure you know everything about them. Where they have their haircut, where they buy their shoes, where they buy their, like the makeup, where they, why? This is part of our reality. And the hadith say Allah hates that. Because waste of time, waste of money, waste of energy, waste of a religion even, you see. What the other part of the hadith, after too much question, unnecessarily? Qila wa qal. Spend life, he said and she said. He said, I told him, he told me, I told her. Qila wa qal. He said and she said. Life is wasted about this issue. Even now there's a magazine about that, full of gossiping. He said, she said, blah, blah, blah. And people watch that on TV. Really. The people are skip their Fajr prayer, Maghrib prayer, school, exam, to watch about he said and she said. And the third bar, ida'atul mal, wasting money. Those 3 things are very hated by Allah. Allah gives the blessing of the person who does those 3 acts. كثرة السؤال, قيل وقال, وإضاعة المال. Mean wasting of money. Wasting, really. When you spend your money, ask yourself where do you spend it. How many times, one time a student came to me, he tried so hard to get somebody to teach him a language class because he needs it very badly and he was failing. And he wanted to be free. First he can be admitted free to the school. I said, nobody will do that for you. Really. He wanted to be free. At the same time, that person, he told me, brother, you have my suit on you. Oh, I get that for $900. You see. I said, what's wrong with you? You're spending your suit $900, but you have no money to pay a teacher or to find a teacher for a subject you need to graduate from school. See? And this was from this school, a student from here. Okay, not somebody you know, all of you, but I know him. He was from Baruch. So I said, see how our priorities now really are changing life. To look nice and beautiful and attractive to some girls who only are so into looks and appearance, meaning not they care about the substance of the person, intelligence, manner, behavior. Spend $900 on a suit. But to nourish your intellect, your education, you have no money on that. And that really way out of balance to the lifestyle. So make our Eid, inshallah, not to be this style of people, honestly. Eid is supposed to be a celebration of ibadah, obedience, forgiveness, rahmah, looking at the communities, see what the need in the community, really. How many mothers now in our community afford to buy a gift and even afford to, a lot of things. We're not aware of that because all our care to dress up, to make fancy parties, invite the rich and wealthy so we can show off our homes, our ability. And on top of that, in some cases, for some people, unfortunately, Eid become nothing to do with religion. Unfortunately, become a celebration of dancing and music and brings the most famous rappers and the most famous singer and the most all of that. And all of that, what do you get of that from Eid? Honestly, personally, I feel sorry for people who waste their time and their money, their energy to think that happiness is supposed to be. Happiness, really, as Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu said one time, he saw his own son. He said, "Oh my son, how come you're not wearing nice clothes for Eid?" And he was the Khalifa. He was wearing mu'mineen. And the state was from all the way from now east to the west. At the time where wealth was real gold, not now like now. Paper with inflation and has no reserve in the banks. It was real gold and silver. Say, "Oh my son, I'm afraid other people to see you like that." What son told him? He said, "My father, al-Eid laysa liman labis al-jadid." The Eid is not for the one who put in new clothes. Eid liman khafa bil-wa'id, liman khafa yawm al-wa'id. The Eid is the one who becomes conscious and aware of the day of difficulty, the day of judgment. And that was the answer of a child of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, who was concerned as a children might see you. Another story by one of the great scholars, the opposite. He saw his son wearing so fancy clothes. He said, "What is that?" He said, "That day of Eid." He said, "Have you considered about all these poor people around you who cannot afford such fancy clothes? Go take it off and wear normal clothes." So the opposite of a child who recognized by his pure heart. Eid is not matter of celebration by clothes and music and party. Eid celebration of what? Be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A day where you rejuvenate your heart to Allah, your intellect. On the other hand, so inshallah, let's all of us reflect on that to make our Eid to be full of that. Ask forgiveness from Allah, ask forgiveness from other people, reach out to your family, visit them. Remember your dead family's member who did something good for you. Pray for them, read Quran, ask for forgiveness. Reach out to the orphan, to the widower in the community. Make your manners. Inshallah, if we do that, we'll have the blessing of the 10th day of the al-Hijjah. So inshallah, on Sunday, remember, on Saturday, remember to fast. It's better even to fast one day before that if you can. I know you're a student, but alhamdulillah, the day now, the weather is very nice, not that long day, not that hot, not that cold. Really, it's perfect time for fasting. So really, it's going to be also in day, not going to be like working or in school, honestly. But don't sleep all day also waiting for Maghrib. I'm serious. Take advantage, honestly. Really, I advise you to be in the spirit of Hajj. If you can tune your TV or the internet, so you can really see what's going on over there. Honestly, you should even every day right now we see what's going on. Be part of Hajj, maybe not there physically, but be in your heart with really those people. Really, tune some TV channel, and some channel even they can broadcast for you the Hajj live. Really, so you know what's going on. You know now they are praying, now they're going here, they're doing sa'i, they're going to Muzdalifah, the Yom al-Tarwiyah, the 8 days, and all of that. Honestly, be part of that. So you encourage yourself. You can be part of that, inshallah. May Allah bless you. And another important thing before I finish, every year make intention to go and perform Hajj. If you cannot do it, at least you get the blessing of the intention. It's very important. Don't say I cannot afford that. If you're sincere, Allah provided for you. And don't wait until you think you want to graduate from school and get married. Before that, get a good job, buy your car and your homes, and get married. And when your children now, oh, you cannot go to Hajj because you have a baby. Okay, when the child gets older, you see. So when you remember to go to Hajj, when you are 50s and 60s, what is that? When is Hajj obligation on the person? From fiqh aspect. When a person reaches puberty age and physically, financially is capable. And don't make your school loan as an excuse, because you have agreement with the company to pay the installment. You should pay everything first, really not to accumulate any interest on you. That's another blessing due from your life. If you manage your life, always my advice to all of you, really, in order not to have student loan in your life and suffer spiritually and financially with that loan, teach your sibling, your family member from a childhood. Brother, now you have, inshallah, beautiful daughter. From now, open for her an account, saving for college. So every day, you put $1, $2, everything's for her. By the time she's in college level or even high school, you don't have to borrow money and pay high interest on that, or be in financial difficulty. From now, start. Arrange for your life. Your daughter will make dua for you all her life that my dad was wise, was intelligent, was caring. Instead of spending money on me for blah, 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 he saved money for me so I can go to school. With that, have to work for somebody, night shift, or cleaning table, or work as a dishwasher, or work as a cashier for $5, $6 every day, being abused, wasting my time, killing my intellect, dealing with so and so every day to get few money and affect my school and my sometimes dignity, my chastity, and my pride, you see. Why? Because our parents, some of us, were not aware enough that to save money for them from a childhood, for college, for education, rather they spend money on what? Unnecessarily stuff for the children. See? Be wiser by making it easier for your children so they can make dua for you, and because you gave them the best opportunity to seek education without the need of suffering physically, financially, spiritually, to work for other people for minimum wage, which is a form of abuse. I see it in every aspect. So inshallah, give that advice to your family, to your children, to your neighbor, to your relative, so they can be in the state of peace of mind. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the blessing of the 10th day of the al-Hijjah. May Allah give us the blessing of Yawm Arafah and the Eid. May Allah accept from all of us. تقبل الله طاعتكم وجعل العيد عيدا مليئا بالنصر والمغفرة والرحمات والاعتصام المسلمين جميعا. تقبل الله منكم وكل عام وأنتم بخير والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.